Welcome to Zone 6 Picks, your go-to source for daily sports betting predictions, expert insights, and free picks across the biggest games in the NBA, WNBA, NFL, MLB, NCAA, and more. We specialize in delivering accurate, research-backed betting content with no subscriptions, no hidden fees, just straightforward betting advice you can trust. Before we get started, a quick shout-out from my partner Zone 6.
What's up, family? Thanks for tapping in with Zone 6 Picks, where we drop game picks every single day. Straight free picks, no pay for play. If you like winning, this is the zone you need to be in, Zone 6. Just show the channel some love, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't never miss a money play. Let's eat.
Tonight, we're heading to the Windy City for a matchup between two teams going in completely different directions. The Atlanta Dream roll into Chicago to take on the Sky, and all signs point to a dominant showing from the visiting squad. The Dream enter this game with an 18-11 record, surging at the right time with 3 straight wins, including a 99-83 blowout over the Mystics, and a 95-72 dismantling of the Mercury. Atlanta's been strong on the road at 9-6, and dependable as favorites, covering in 10 of 17 games when laying points. Meanwhile, Chicago is in a freefall. They've dropped 8 of their last 10, are just 5-10 at home, and have failed to cover the spread in 5 straight, while they did manage a 78-64 win over Washington to stop the bleeding. One win doesn't erase weeks of poor form. The matchup history is just as telling. Atlanta has owned this series, going 3-0 against the Sky this season, and winning each of those games by an average of over 22 points. They've topped 86 in every meeting, averaging 89 points per game, while making Chicago look lost on both ends of the floor. In terms of player availability, both squads are banged up, but the edge still goes to Atlanta. The Dream will be without Maya Caldwell and Ryan Howard, and Brittany Griner remains day-to-day and not likely to play, but their offensive system remains explosive without her. Chicago, on the other hand, is missing key pieces like Angel Reese and Courtney Vandersloot. Haley Van Lith, Michaela Onyenwer, and Ariel Atkins are all day-to-day. And with that much uncertainty, it's hard to trust this Sky lineup to compete for 40 minutes. The numbers back it up. Atlanta ranks second in offensive rating across the league and just shot over 56% from the floor in their last game. Chicago ranks dead last in defensive efficiency, allowing 86.2 points per game and letting opponents shoot nearly 45% from the field. Combine that with tired legs, since the Sky are playing the second half of a back-to-back, and it's hard to imagine them slowing down this Dream offense. The betting market is moving in Atlanta's favor. The Dream opened around -8, but books have shifted to -8.5 to 9.5, indicating that sharper money is backing the road team. Based on team form, key absences, offensive firepower, and the trends that keep repeating, I'm siding with the Dream to dominate again. Final pick, Atlanta Dream -9.5. Projected score, Atlanta 90, Chicago 68. Let's take a trip out west, as the Phoenix Mercury host the Indiana Fever in a game that carries major implications for both conferences. Phoenix enters as a 4.5-point favorite, and based on recent trends, player availability, and situational factors, they're in a strong spot to cover. The Mercury are coming off 2 straight wins, including an 82-66 blowout against the Connecticut Sun. While they've had an up-and-down stretch, going just 3-5 over their last 8, their recent defensive turnaround is hard to ignore. They've held opponents to just 66.5 points per game across their last 2, forcing turnovers and holding teams under 35% shooting. At home, with momentum on their side, this version of Phoenix looks locked in. Indiana comes into this one after having their 5-game winning streak snapped by the Sparks in a 100-91 loss. The Fever are in the final leg of a 4-game road trip and have looked solid, going 2-1 so far. But fatigue becomes a factor when teams close out extended stretches away from home. Add to that the continued absence of Caitlin Clark, who's missed the last 8 games with a groin injury and still has no clear timetable for return. Indiana's adjusted fairly well without her at times, but her scoring and ability to collapse defenses are a huge part of their offensive identity. The numbers tell the story. Indiana's averaging 85.3 points per game, which ranks 4th in the league, but they've also allowed 98 or more points in half of their last 8 contests. In their recent loss to LA, they gave up over 56% shooting. Phoenix, meanwhile, is averaging 83.3 per game, and Sadu Sabally is finding her rhythm again, putting up 23 points in her last outing. Combine that with Alyssa Thomas and Kali Copper, and this team has more than enough firepower These teams met just a week ago in a 107-101 shootout, where the Fever pulled off the upset, but that game was wide open, with little defense played on either side. Since then, the Mercury have adjusted their game plan, tightening up on defense and slowing the pace, something that should make a big difference this time around. Given the absence of Caitlin Clark, the fatigue factor for Indiana, and the defensive resurgence we're seeing from Phoenix, I'm siding with the Mercury to win and cover the -5.5 spread at home. Final pick, Phoenix Mercury -4.5. Projected score, Mercury 91, Fever 84. Finishing off the night, the LA Sparks host the struggling Connecticut Sun in what could be another blowout win for one of the hottest teams in the league. The Sparks enter this matchup riding a wave of momentum, having won 7 of their last 8 games and exploding offensively over the past 2 weeks. They've scored over 100 points in 4 of their last 5 contests, including a 100-91 win over Indiana in their most recent outing. Their current over-under record stands at an elite August 1st 19 overall, with a dominant 9-3-1 ATS mark at home. This team not only scores points, but consistently covers spreads, even the big ones. That's important, because tonight they're laying 10.5 points against a Connecticut team that has been completely out of rhythm on the road. Connecticut sits at just 5-23 on the season and is in the midst of a brutal 10-game road losing streak. Their latest showing was an 82-66 loss to Phoenix, and their ATS record on the road isn't helping their case either. Sitting at just 5-8 away from home, the offense has been flat, and defensively they haven't had the personnel or consistency to stay in games for 4 quarters. Looking at the numbers, the Sparks have averaged nearly 92 points per game across their last 10, while allowing just over 90 at home. That scoring output jumps to nearly 87 per game. Compare that to Connecticut, who's scoring just over 81 while giving up 84. And it becomes clear where the edge lies. The Sparks are simply playing at a level that Connecticut can't match on either end. These teams have met twice this season, and both matchups went the Sparks' way. They won the first game 92-88, and followed that up with a 100-186 win, covering the spread with ease. That 15-point win is a clear signal that the current line at -10.5 is beatable if the Sparks continue their current form. Injury-wise, the Sun are relatively healthy, with only Bria Hartley listed as a game-time decision due to illness. The Sparks have no injuries to report at this time. Line movement is also pointing in the Sparks' direction. The number opened around -10.5, moved to -11.5 across most books, then back to 10.5, suggesting sharp money is pushing back to LA to get it done again. There may be some historical data that points to the Sun keeping games close in LA, but current form trumps past trends, with the Sparks locked in offensively, efficient at home, and showing strong discipline against the spread. I'm confidently backing them to cover once again. Final pick, LA Angels Sparks -11.5. Projected score, Sparks 98, Sun 84. I'm also grabbing the over. That wraps up the breakdown for tonight's slate. We've got sharp matchups, strong trends, and clear edges across the board. Trust the data, ride the momentum, and let's stack another winning night. This is Zone 6 Picks. We don't guess, we calculate. See you tomorrow.